Folks, I'm asked a lot of questions about wood decks and how to go about finishing them. Come on down here and I'll show you a unique process. Folks, a year ago here, the homeowner decided to put down a cedar deck, cedar 2x4. And in order to do a finishing process, they decided on the flood paint system. Now, the flood paint system requires you to take that mill glazing off. That's that real smooth finish that when the material goes through the mill and it really polishes it up, you've got to take that off because the material won't penetrate into the wood. To do that, they use the Dex Wood Cleaner. So they clean the wood first. That opens up the pores, ready to install the Seasonite product here. Now, that's where it's at now a year later, and as you can see, there's been a lot of traffic on the deck. There's dog prints all over the place, and in order to put the rest of the process in place, we better go and talk to a pro. Now, folks, now that the Seasonite has had a season to season, you might say, we're going to talk about the finish, and with me to talk about that is Bill Papook from Flood Paint Company. How are you doing?
Fantastic, Shell.
Tell me about what's the next process?
Well, now we're going to go and put on the finishing coat. And before we do that, we must clean it again because you get some superficial dirt.
Okay, now how do you go about using the Dex Wood Cleaner?
Okay, this is a 4-to-1 concentrate.
Now 4-to-1 to water.
To water. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, then once it's cleaned, we're going to let it sit for the required amount of time until it dries so it'll accept the CWF.
Colors, Bill?
Yeah, 3 colors and a clear.
Great. Well, let's get over and get at her.
Fantastic.
Now, I see that you've mixed up the Dex Wood Cleaner in the pail, so therefore you've elected to use the brush in the pail, whereas you could have applied it with a low-pressure garden sprayer.
That is correct.
Now, Bill, the Dex Wood Cleaner requires a wet surface, so I'll wet it down for you. This would be a great job to do during a rainy day, wouldn't it?
It sure would.
Well, let's give you a little bit of a hand here.
Okay.
Now, I see you've got some safety gear here. You've got goggles and rubber gloves, and I see you've got your galoshes on there so you can wear rubber boots.
Yeah, anytime you're dealing with camels, whether they're mild or they're excessive, always wear protection.
Boy, you can sure see that coming up. Now, one of the most important things here, when you brush the Dex Wood Cleaner on, you leave it for 30 minutes, keeping it good and wet all the time. If you come into an area where it's really dirty, then you can use some of the Dex Wood Cleaner full strength. Leave it to 30 minutes and then hose it off. Bill, that deck looks great after that Dex Wood Cleaner. It didn't take long to dry either.
No, this one here, we let it dry for a day.
A good day in dry weather then is required.
Exactly.
Now, I see that you're going to use the clear CWF UV that we've got here, and you're going to apply it with the roller. I see you got the gear on, so you're obviously ready to go.
Exactly.
Now, I assume you're going to start in the shade.
We'll start with the shade and work with the shade back so we don't get it drying too quickly.
And keep a wet-on-wet edge when you're applying it.
Absolutely.
There you have it, folks. Doesn't it look great? Now, keep in mind, when you use a CWF UV, you want to make sure you have a clean, dry surface before application. And if it's a new wood product, make sure that the Seasonite gets applied first for the first season, then over top after cleaning with the CWF UV.